I want to welcome you guys. Thank you so very much for coming for our very first, second Saturday of sharing. Basically, what I put this group together, or this second Saturday, about is it's about self-care, about essential oils, and about healing. It's about how our mind, body, soul, spirit is intertwined, particularly our body and our spirit, how they're connected, and how through self-care, through essential oils, and through healing, we're able to really tap into our body-spirit connection. Because the difference between so many people say, well, isn't the spirit and the soul the same? And it's not. The difference is our soul is our essence, and our spirit is our connection to God. And when our body and our spirit are disconnected, then we are not being able to fully connect with God the way He designed us to be able to connect. So some of the things with self-care that we can look at are things like our time, our house, our nutrition. How can we nurture ourselves as women? And then our healing can be a physical healing, whether it's allergies, whether it's an autoimmune situation, whether it's something going on at work. And that's where healing is really important, to be able to really get to the root of the emotion, whether it's a physical ailment or a spiritual emotion, all that stuff. And so that's where essential oils are able to be supportive for our self-care as well as our healing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we can do this month to be able to nurture our self-care, as well as talk about some of the products and oils that I ordered specifically with my LRP this month. And then Jennifer is going to share a little bit about specifically healing with Splankna and stuff like that. So of course she's going to jump in whenever with oils, because she's wonderful with some of the questions and answers and whatnot. So first, anybody, you guys are very familiar with oils. I know both of you are. So did you have any specific questions about oils before we get started? Or okay, all right. So the sheets that I passed out this month, I'm really focusing on self-care and detoxing. I've been doing a lot of different shares about that. And I started, the first sheet is the basic oil trio. What I like about the basic oil trio is that you really can do so much with these three oils. Lavender is known for, a lot of people think of lavender just as a sleep, type of oil, one to help support sleep, but it can be very supportive for the adrenals. It can be very supportive for anxiety. I know that if my adrenals are feeling really ramped up, I will just automatically rub it toward, on my adrenal area. If I'm feeling just really anxious, I will rub it onto my heart. And it just helps me just kind of, even though it's not a grounding oil, it still just, it helps me just feel that support, feel that relief. Lemon is fabulous for cleansing, not only cleaning the house, but cleansing our system. Lemon helps reduce our fat cells, how we make sure to get the toxins and the junk out of our fat cells, which grapefruit does the same. Grapefruit is one of the oils that I'll be sharing with you with one of my orders that I made this month. And then peppermint is great for some of its physical properties, for energy, for even any head tension, just if you're feeling just kind of anxious. It also, even though it's an energy, it can, sometimes when we're anxious, our head can feel that anxiousness, right? And we get really tight and tension in our head and everything, and it can really help support that. A funny thing, one of the ways that I use peppermint is actually to cool myself down at church. If I find it really, really hot at church, I'll take a drop of peppermint oil with some coconut oil, and I'll just rub it on the back of my neck, so that I will, within 5 minutes, I will start to cool down and not feel that red flush going on in my face. But those are all really great property, aspects. But some of the really great emotional aspects of lavender, thinking about whenever we have something physical going on, what could be an underlying emotion behind it. And so when a particular oil, what I like to do is to investigate when an oil works for me physically, then I go to this emotions book, and I like to read what could possibly be an emotion that was going on underlying. So like, for example, we'll go to lavender, and I'm going to write that by each other. So lavender is the oil of communication. When I learned that a while back, I realized, so I will a lot of times put lavender on my thyroid, on my throat, to help me be able to, because as I've learned on this journey, that with the thyroid, when the thyroid starts to get a disconnect, and I think that there could be an underlying, emotion of not using your voice, of not speaking out. Yes?
No question about that. For years, I couldn't stand lavender. I mean, I would smell it, and it would just, don't put that around me at all. So, how do you interpret all of that? And I can do lavender now. I mean, I don't necessarily enjoy it per se, but it doesn't give me that stay away from me.
Right. All right. So that's perfect. That is perfect. So the negative emotion that lavender can produce, and that we want to be able to actually help heal from, is the negative emotion to be blocked communication, fear of rejection, feeling unseen or unheard, constricted tension, emotional dishonesty, hiding, fear of self-disclosure. So if a person is having a negative emotion to an oil, and this one particularly lavender, that could have been an emotion that was coming out and manifesting. So lavender being the oil of communication, it aids verbal expression, it calms the insecurities that are felt when one risks their true thoughts and feelings. It addresses a deep fear of being seen and heard. In need of lavender, individuals in need of lavender hide within, blocking all forms of true self-expression. While they may even be going through the motions of outward expression, they're actually holding back their innermost thoughts and feelings. The expression is not connected to the heart or soul. Lavender supports individuals in releasing the tension and constriction that stems from fear of expressing one's self. Due to past experiences, they may believe it is not safe to express themselves. The true self is therefore trapped within and goes unexpressed. Strong feelings of being unlovable, unimportant, or unheard can accompany this condition. The individual's fear of rejection paralyzes their true voice and traps their feelings inside. Lavender encourages emotional honesty and insists that one speak their innermost thoughts and desires. As individuals learn to communicate their deepest thoughts and feelings, they are liberated from their self-inflicted prison. It is through open and honest communication that an individual expresses unconditional love and acceptance. Through lavender's courageous spirit, one is free to share their true self with others. So then the positive property would be to be able to have open communication, relaxed, expressive, emotionally honest, and heard. So a lot of times if I'm having a negative reaction to an oil, I will read, what the oil, and I'll see if it resonates within me. If there's even just a slight amount of, it tends to sometimes use really strong, descriptive words in the emotion book. But if there's even just a slight aspect of that, anger has so many different, levels, right? And so it is the same thing of, here it talks about one of the things that struck me was the true self is therefore trapped within it, goes unexpressed. Strong feelings of being unlovable, unimportant, or unheard, and it could be just even the slightest of a little, feeling that, depending on our personality, our temperament, our love language, even, can all interplay with that. So, it's a good question. Was that helpful?
Oh yeah, when I went on the Healing Little Person retreat, what came out was, I will be hurt. So it just really puts a connection for me as far as this whole holistic.
Right.
I got goosebumps.
Well, I was even, because of the fact that I know you so well, as I was reading it even, I was like,
ding, ding, ding,
oh
ding, ding.
yeah. like me with myrrh. You know, when I read myrrh, I was like, oh yeah, no wonder why me and myrrh need to get friends.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gotten a lot better that the people in my past who I held on, or knew I needed to forgive, who didn't hear me, or that kind of thing. I mean, I forgiven and moved on to that. So does that help you with the lavender being more of an accepted?
In your system, yes,
Yeah.
it has to do with. So it's not that you don't still need the support.
Right, no, but I'm just saying my
right.
personal reaction
Right.
to the oil has something to do with the actual healing process that's
Right.
been
Exactly.
I've been experiencing through
Right.
just my journey.
Exactly. It's kind of like me with myrrh. I am actually able to tolerate myrrh and not have such a negative reaction anymore. I still need it, and I do use it, not just for the physical property, but also for the emotional property. But I still do need to layer it with some of the other uplifting oils. My hope is that eventually I'll be able to actually use myrrh straight on and not have to have any aiding oils. But it will mean that, yes, I have been able to, my body has been able to change its molecular structure to accept myrrh, so that when I'm needing it to support me, I'm
not
able,
rejecting it.
right,
Because
exactly.
of the emotional
Because of the
connection.
emotional, because of my own wounds, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's correct.
Very cool. Okay, sorry. All right. So that's just this. I wanted to be able to share this with you guys. Definitely read more of it. Take it home, make lots of notes and everything. The back has On Guard, of course. We have our season of needing to be extra protected. What I like about On Guard is not only how it protects us, it gives us support from the environment, and stuff like that. But I look at it as when I'm needing, even just feeling like I need extra spiritual support and protection, I put On Guard on as well because of the cloves that are in it. This clove, reading real quick, and I won't read the whole thing on cloves.
I love cloves. I can suck on cloves. So this will be interesting to learn about.
So I have to read about clothes, apparently.
So I'll just real quick highlight it. So cloves is the oil of boundaries.
Sorry, those glutton are coming out there.
So cloves supports individuals in letting go of victim mentality. It assists individuals in letting go of patterns of self-betrayal and codependency. It gives the pushover the courage to say no. And its positive properties are to be empowered, clear boundaries, protected, courageous, independent, capable, proactive, personal integrity. The negative emotions can be victim, defeated, dominated, enslaved, fear, rejection, intimidated, controlled by others, codependency.
So now you know why I love cloves.
Oh yeah, trust me, and that is why, because with my whole journey, I've been really learning how I need to set boundaries. I need to not, that just because I have been asked to be able to be an open book doesn't mean that I need to throw gifts to swine, just as God talks about. And so I need to make sure and listen to Him of when it is I'm supposed to share and how much am I supposed to share, and to make sure that my spirit, because we're all spirit connected. I mean, whether we believe it or not, we all affect each other, physically and spiritually. And so when you enter a room, we all know that little feeling that we can all get from another person, right? And so that is where cloves comes in really handy. On Guard comes in really handy. And it's funny because I just recently was sharing with my priest about oils and all that stuff, and he had me do a little demo with him, and I put together a roller bottle with On Guard for him. And I told him, I said, so therefore, because of the fact that you're inundated with germs and all stuff, just use it no different than you would a hand sanitizer. Put on your hands afterwards and things so that you're protecting yourself. You're being able to keep your immune system up. And then I warned him about the emotional component and all that stuff. But that's part of why I actually put On Guard on before I go to Mass, as well as not only for the protection of what it does for and supports my body physically, but also supporting because I know that I am such a sponge of emotions and I can take on other people's emotions so easily. It's helping me maintain those boundaries. Because if you think about it, when we're in church, we're all sinners, right? And we have the most broken of broken people because they're there to be able to truly seek out Christ, to seek out God. And their hearts are poured out, their spirits are poured out. Well, it's easy to let that latch onto yourself. So On Guard, I look at it as it's my great protector. So, yeah. So, and if you're having a negative to clove, then just, dig into that and pray about it and see what could be possibly, what part do you need to be able to help nurture your body to accept cloves a little bit better, to where it doesn't become because there's a difference between you smell an oil, you're like, it's okay, but it's not my favorite, versus that, ooh, that is just, when you're having that kind of reaction, that's definitely, when you want to look at the negative emotion to it.
And then what do you do?
And then you just
Pray first.
Yeah. That's
Ask God to open your eyes and your heart.
Exactly. Because if you think about all of this, we want to be able to do in His divine will, right? We want to live in His will, and the more we connect our body and our spirit, the more we're connecting to Him, and then we're more open to His will.
Okay. And if you can, use that oil on the bottoms of your feet, because that's the least likely place where you're going to be able to smell it more.
Oh.
So, but because of you putting it on your feet, on the bottoms, it's going to help that emotional side of you or the spirit side of you. The oil's going to help bring you in balance. So eventually, the more you use it, you will get used to it, and it will start releasing, the negative emotions within you, and then you will actually start liking it. And I did that with oregano at one time.
So what's oregano? Because I'm better with oregano now, but I couldn't stand the oil.
I was the same way. Like, I can do it now. It actually, during a season, I was using it, and it's been quite some time ago. I can't remember the details. But it was like, get this away from me. And I started using it on the bottoms of my feet, and I think I used it for about 3 weeks straight, like every day. And then towards the end of that 3 weeks, it turned sweet to me, a real sweet smell. So.
Well, you had asked me to use it for Zach with his warts. And I knew I couldn't stand that oil. I knew it. And I thought, okay, I will do this for my son. And now I can put it on my hands, and I can even,
Have it up close.
smell it. But what's the negative part of the
You can put it
oregano?
on your hands neat.
No, it's the
Okay.
coconut oil.
Okay.
No, I don't do that. No.
That burns the heck out of my hands.
No.
All right, so it is the oil of humility and non-attachment. So I'll real quick just give a summary of the paragraphs, but then I'll give the negative and positive properties. So oregano cuts through the fluff of life and teaches individuals to do the same. It addresses a person's need to be right. Individuals in need of oregano may attempt to convert other people to their own fixed opinions. On the deepest level, oregano dispels materialism and attachment that hinders an individual's growth and progress. A person may feel encouraged to end a toxic relationship, quit an oppressive job, or end a destructive habit. It encourages true spirituality by inviting the soul to live in non-attachment, and teaches that devotion to a higher power includes letting go of rigidity, willfulness, negative attachments, and materialism. So the negative emotion is overly attached, pride, opinionated, negative, excessive, willful, materialistic. The positive property is humility, non-attachment, teachable, flexible, willingness to be wrong, devoted.
That, one of the things I've really been struggling with that I really believe God's been calling me to, wasn't real happy with, was that complete detachment of the material. And not just, not like I need a big house with all this stuff, but even the simple things in my life. It's, that whole trench in the backyard was such a battle for me. And I think it was, God was still telling me, let it go. And it was like, no, this is wrong. It needs to be taken care of. And, because this isn't a need or a want. This is a need. And it's, wow. Okay. Wow, this is really fascinating stuff.
So the other sheets, the other two, I'll just go over those real quickly, is 30-Day Detox, Cleanse, and Restore. Talks about all the different supplements that are really supportive to be able to help detoxify your system, to help cleanse. Because remember, when we have junk holding on inside of our bodies, inside of our cells, then we're not being able to really and truly live the way we were designed to live, and a lot of times we think of detoxifying just for nutritional reasons, but the thing is, I truly firmly believe that when things get captured in our bodies, whether it's in our colons, our cells, our everything that needs to be detoxified, there's also emotions that are being locked in there, that are being stuck. And so when we detox, when we do a detox, whether a person enters it thinking just nutritionally or whether a person enters in it thinking just spiritually, there's going to be a counter response. There's going to be a counter effect, that it will, when you enter it for a physical reason, it will benefit the spirit. And when you enter into something spiritually, it will benefit the body if you're able to see the connection. So
It's predicated on that, though, isn't it?
do what?
To get both the spiritual and the physical, you need to be aware of both. Is what you're saying.
Right. So you may not, exactly. So like a person who might be entering into a detox specifically for physical reasons, may not realize some of the emotions that they're experiencing are a spiritual, reaction. They might just be thinking that, it's because of the fact that I'm cleansing my system from sugar, and so I'm going through the ups and downs of, detoxing from sugar and all stuff. And yeah, their body is experiencing the detoxing from sugar, but there's also another detox going on. They just may not be aware of. But I really like, because again, all of these supplements, they have, when you read the back of the bottles, they have oils in with them as well. And so the more I read on the oils, especially the emotions, and just seeing the connections of the emotions with the oils, that, here, this is set up for a physical detox, and the oils that are in it, because like oregano is one of the big cleansers, for the gut and for the system and all that stuff. And to see how non-attachment, all right, what are we holding on, that our body is holding on to these toxins that we're not willing to let go of. It's kind of cool and neat and exciting when you think about it. So and then the other one talks a little bit about some of the supplements, also the same ones that are on here, as well as the Slim & Sassy products. So that is all of that. Let's see real quick. So basically understanding that we are body and spirit, and that we can't separate the two, that we must be able to care for both of our body and our spirit, that the one affects the other, right? So some of the things that we, want to be able to be conscientious for our body is our nutrition, our exercise, our sleep, our mind, because with our spirit, it's about our connection to God. It's about our connection with our community, with our church, with prayer, and with healing, and with our health. And they both affect each other. And this is how we're able to continue to learn about this connection through our self-care and essential oils and the healing. So it's exciting to me. So what I did this month with my order because the month of January is, we still have tomorrow, the 15th. We're doing, doTERRA was doing their free frankincense with a 200 PB order. And then the free oil of the month was wild orange, and that's with a 100, Jennifer, 100 PB for the wild orange, or is it 125?
125.
So 125 PB order. I always go way over, so I never can remember the 100 or 125. So, anyways, so I wanted to give an example, and I posted this on my my one private group to let some of my oilers understand. You know, you don't have to always order just oils. You know, you can do products, but you don't have to do just products either. So some of the things that allowed me to be able to make sure I got my free frankincense for the month and my free wild orange was I needed more of my vitality pack, the vitamins and all that stuff. And then I order extra of the omegas because Brian is actually starting to really like them and knowing the need for them and all that stuff.
Doesn't he call them his fish pills?
Yes, he calls them his fish pills because that's what they are with all of the fish oils. Because it has, let's see if I can read it without my, anyways, it has your EPA, DHA, it has the marine oil and plant oils. So, all that. Then I also ordered the Deep Blue. For me, it's interesting because the Deep Blue rub is really good for muscle. And it's also, I've been using it for tension in my head and all that stuff. It's been the oil that's been supporting me versus past tense, like I was sharing with you guys earlier. But the Deep Blue complex helps me with my systemic kind of pain that I receive because of the Hashimoto's. I sometimes will have just an achy pain in my body that's not just necessarily in the joints. It can be from my elbow to my wrist, a lot of nerve pain. Going out in the cold is not just cold to me. It makes me tense up really bad sometimes. And this complex really supports that. Where before I started taking this, it was on a regular basis. I was not being able to do my push-ups anymore at all because my pain from my elbow to my wrist was so intense. I could barely, just lift things, hold things. It was difficult. It was very painful. When I started taking this, it started minimizing to where today I've been able to get back into doing 20 push-ups every morning, 20 push-ups every evening, and some, throughout the day, and having no wrist pain, no elbow pain, and just feeling great. Then the Mito 2 Max, it really helps support with energy and stamina, and also with just the connectors in the brain, just helping to give focus. So I really like that. I ran out of my hairspray, I'm about to run out of my hairspray, and so I've been really wanting to try this Cold Blaze because it's supposed to be able to really help with hair, and my vanity is my hair. So I was like, I don't know if I can go from hairspray to a glaze, but I've heard really great things to how well this holds. And my husband's his gel that he uses, I've been noticing that even though it's supposed to be a clean gel, I've been getting headaches whenever I smell it. And so I know that it has something in it that's affecting my system. So it has been tossed to the curb, and this is going to become our new best friend. I like to support local artisans that actually make bath soaps and all that stuff, but I was out of my most recent one. And so, but the interesting thing is this one has the Serenity oil in it. And we just, a couple weekends ago, or last weekend, did the Zyto scan for myself, Josephine, and Brian. And Josephine and Brian both were high on needing Serenity. And which was funny because we read the oil and all that stuff. We read what it was about emotionally as well as physically. And I thought it was funny. So I thought, let me help continue to support their Serenity need with a back bar. And let's see, one of my oils that came up on my Zyto scan was thyme. And it's fun component of the emotional thing, but it also helps support estrogen leveling. That's one thing that Susan had shared with me during the Zytoscan is, and it's interesting because I had been taking time, but I ran out of my time.
Didn't
So-
the boys get that mixed up?
They said that purposely as a pun. So I had ran out of time, and I'd been noticing that my body was showing different symptoms of estrogen level raising. And so when the Zytoscan came up, and when Susan shared that with me, it clicked, it made sense. And so I've been re-putting it on my ovary area as well as anywhere else that my estrogen tends to build up with cystic, my cystic breasts and all that stuff. And I've been experiencing much better relief. Yes. So then the HD Clear, I've been wanting Josephine to be able to have just an easier way for her to wash her face rather than some of my homemade, crazy concoctions that I do that I'm okay with. But, she's a young teen that needs to be able to have something quick to go and do. So.
And actually know how to wash my face.
So I wanted her to be able to try this. And what's cool is Hillary LeMay has on her stuff, she shares some cool life hacks on how to be able to, once this has emptied out, to be able to get the oil that is in the HD Clear and to use the oil with Castile Pistils soap. And what she has a YouTube that you can watch. Anyways, to fill this up literally with pennies. I mean, because this is normally a $21 product, and then when you redo it yourself, make it yourself with the pump and all that stuff, you end up spending. I think she put on the YouTube like 8 cents or something. It was like pennies. Maybe it was 21 cents. No, it was like 8 cents. It was pennies. So I was like excited because I thought once this empties out, then I'll try it that way. Correct X, you've shared with me about Correct X. It's for like blemishes and stuff, correct?
Anything you would use Neosporin for.
Okay.
So it is great for blemishes on the face. It's very gentle but powerful. And if you have a cut or a scrape or anything of that nature, that's perfect.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's see, Motivate. I was about to run out of Motivate, and so I did that. This was the second oil that came up with my Zytoscan that I needed Motivate. So I made sure that I got some more of that. And then finally, one of the new oils that we have is the Hope oil. You don't earn any PBs with Hope oil, but it is so worth it. Not only because it smells just delicious.
Smells like vanilla.
Oh my goodness, it is a fabulous oil. But the proceeds of that oil goes towards trafficking, human trafficking. And that is something that is just really near and dear to both mine and Jennifer's heart. Yes, she's in love with this oil.
No, not really. No, that would be lime.
Do what?
Are you in contact with
I'm going to be making sure that, yes, and visit with her about the Hope oil.
Who, me?
No, Joy.
Oh.
Speaking to- Yes. So, so with that, you're able to see that I was able to get my free frankincense and free wild orange. So then on this other example of an order, which would get the same wild orange and frankincense, the promotion of the month, the promo product is this athletic kit, which comes with the deep blue. It comes with Melaleuca, peppermint, lavender, On Guard, and Breathe, which those are all, staples in our house, especially. These are all that we use on a regular basis. So it's just a great kit to be able to have in your bag, to just throw in your bag. And a cool little life hack is that we all have these bottles laying around, right? Mm-hmm. So, let me actually, real quick. So what I do is, Brian's kit is a little bit different. It is these little mini bottles with little stickers and all that stuff that I'll put on it and everything. But I will, in the mini bottles that I have empty, I will put whatever drops, so like this Breathe. I say if I want it to just be able to be a roll-on, this is not diluted, right?
I want my oils to last a little bit longer. So I'll put so many in a mini bottle, add fractionated coconut oil. I purchase specifically little lids so that I can create my own roller bottles with those mini bottles, and then they'll still fit in here. It's a nice little life hack to help it last. A cool thing to know, if it's not now this is a touch, Motivate is a touch oil, but Past Tense is not a touch oil. So it's not diluted. I learned this through Hilary LeMay. It has no, it is 100% past tense with all the oils. So again, life hack, take it, open it up. There's that tool that, I have handily, or you can use
Don't you have
actually.
like 2 of them now?
I have 3 of them now, actually. Or you can take the lid itself, and it will help you. Yeah, there we go. It was coming off. The lid will help you take it off. Usually.
Do you
I was
have to
using
take it off for the class?
No, I don't, I guess. So, but anyways, you can take it off, remove it, again, in another bottle, fill it up, then fill the rest of it up, or fill however many drops you want that you feel you get the right response from, whether it's 20 drops or whatever. And then, and what I do, whenever I'm experimenting, when I've gone from neat to diluted, is I will put, say, 20 drops of an oil, and then fill halfway up with fractionated coconut oil, and I see if I'm going to get the same response, if I'm going to be able to, still experience the same thing from it. If not, then I add a few more drops of the actual oil to where I get the ratio that's right for me, but then it allows the oil to still have some longevity. So again, with this order though, what I did was the promotion of the athletic kit, the past tense, the Serenity combo, which this is the complex, that Serenity oil is really great for sleep, rest, relaxation. This one specifically is great for rest because it has valerian root, I think, in it. Yes. Has, sorry, my eyes. And it has L-theanine. So those are they're really good for relaxing. My adrenals need it. So I definitely 1 to 2 of these every night I take, and this goes on the bottom of my feet, back on my neck, in my diffuser, doing that. I was running out of my D and C, and I've heard some really great things about this. My D levels are finally up high enough with my Hashimoto's that I just really felt, as I was praying and being intuitive and muscle testing, that this was going to be a good one to go along with my other D, so I can actually start reducing my other D's complex. So I'm looking forward to really using this and seeing when I take my next blood levels to see if everything stays where it's supposed to be at. I love the toothpaste. It whitens my teeth. It is fabulous, and it tastes good. I like it. And then the oils that I ordered that went with this order was lemongrass. It's just really great cleansing oil, as well as supportive for the thyroid. Cassia, along with cinnamon bark, which are both cinnamons, but they have different properties, different purposes. And then TerraShield, even though we're not in bug season, I was thinking about it and I realized I need to go ahead and get this oil so that I have it when I do need it. Grapefruit, and the Hope oil, again, like I said, I order with every single one of my orders, I order the Hope oil. So grapefruit. What I love about grapefruit, it's in this Lemon Sassy, it's in several other different blends also, but it is, so its physical property is it helps detoxify cells, right? It helps reduce and shrink fat cells and stuff like that to be able to help detoxify and cleanse, very similar to lemon. But it's the oil of love, of acceptance of body, of self. And so I just, especially as I've been dealing with this whole healing journey myself, it has been a fabulous oil for me to just remind myself, stay grounded in that whole body spirit connection of I am more than just this body. I am spirit too. So, so that was that order. Any questions, any thoughts? What happened to my yoga ball? All right, so with that, I am going to turn over to Jennifer so that she can share a little bit about, we talked about healing, and how healing can be, there might be a physical need, like a person who's having physical ailments, whether it has to do with an autoimmunity condition or whether it has to do with just a simple cold, right? But then we have healing that's deeper sometimes. And the thing is, what's cool is, as I've learned on this healing journey, is that the physical ailments are usually, I'm going to say, okay, for disclaimer's sake, I won't say that 100% of the time, but I firmly believe that our physical ailments are a manifestation of what is going on internally, what's going on emotionally, what is going on spiritually, when there's that disconnect especially. Because when we stuff down our emotions, where are they going to go? That they're going to manifest somewhere, somehow. And I truly firmly believe that it's physical, when we don't deal and address the emotions. And so that's where Jennifer with Splunkna does some wonderful things with that.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Glenn, and I am a master level Splunkna practitioner and a doTERRA wellness advocate as well. One thing, I'll just start off telling you a little bit about myself. I grew up wanting to be in the fashion industry, and I was for about 16 years. And then along that time, I really had a strong sense of wanting to help people, but I never really knew how. And after, kind of through prayer and seeking God's will on that, it took a long time, but He was able to reveal to me how to do that. And through a friend of mine, she became aware of Splunkna through the internet, and she said, Jen, I really think this is for you. And so I looked into it, but through the trainings and had to travel, and it was a lot of money, and I was like, there's no way I can do this. So about a year later, that same friend brought it back up, and she goes, Jen, I think you really need to look into this. And so at that time, because I was still searching and kind of finding my way of helping other people, God was like knocking on my door, so to speak, saying, and opened it and said, this is for you. And so I pursued the courses, and I started, my first course was in October of 2014. And then I finished my master level course in October of 2015. So it has brought an amazing...
What is Splunkna?
It is a way to tap into our innermost part of us. So that's what Splunkna means, is our gut and where we store our emotions and feelings. A lot of it stems from that area. And it allows us to, Splunkna uses muscle testing to go to check different emotions that are affecting us in that moment, or the time frame that we're working with. And it correlates it with a meridian point in the body. So if we have an emotion of fear, and maybe it's lodged in our right lung, through a mind-body touch, it releases, and through prayer. And so it tells a story. Through muscle testing, we find out what age we're working with, and what is happening during that time frame. And then we get through all the emotions and all the points on the body. With prayer, it releases. We get down to an agreement that was made, and we break those agreements. And it's amazing about the benefits one person can have just with one session. And
At least 4 times.
It's kind of like our bodies are almost like a computer hard drive. So whatever has happened throughout our lifetime, it stores that information in our cells. And even though it could be an event that happened 20 years ago, and we think we've moved past it and it's no longer an issue, 20, 25, 30 years later, something could happen and trigger that same type of response as what we did in that original issue that we had. And so it's a way to release all of that. What else? Another example would be one might ask, well, how do you know your body's releasing? Or how do you know something's an issue for you? I tell clients that if you have anything chronic going on and you've been to the doctors, say for instance upper respiratory issues, and you're going to the doctor every few months and getting medicine or breathing treatments or whatever it might be, 98% of that is probably an emotional component that is stirring that up. So Splunkna is a way to get down to those rooted emotions concerning that symptom and then freeing that, and you'll see a difference physically.
And emotionally, because it's like, how, people that have that peace beyond all understanding, it's not something you can necessarily explain, but you know it. That's the way it is with Splunkna, because whatever you've released and is cleared, it's not there anymore. If you know how it becomes a part of you, and you can call on it, or it will come forth. Once you're cleared, I'm not sure if the terminology is correct, but once it's cleared from your system, it's not there anymore. It is just not there anymore.
Well, I can give a testimony, at least for my son. I have not been yet. You can focus on computers.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I took how old was Zach then? Was he 7 or 8? Well, he's just turned 8. So he's 7. And he had this just immobilizing fear of closed spaces, closed doors, and an immobilizing fear of me leaving and him not being in my presence. And it was just crazy. And so Kelly had introduced or asked me about Splunkna. She said, read this book, see what it looks like. And I don't see anything wrong with it, So she saw Jennifer, and as Kelly was telling me about this, and the book talked about fear. That was one of the things that was really there. So I thought, I need to take my son. And long story short, whenever I would leave, Zachary would be reciting my cell phone number over and over again, asking me when I'd be home. I had to give him 2 big kisses on the cheek, and he just didn't want me to leave. And the other thing was his bedroom had to have a closet light on, another light on, the hall light on, and no doors closed. And it was, obviously manifesting fear. Took him to see Jennifer. I knew where the closed door one came from because he had locked himself in our garage before he was 2. So I knew where that emotion was coming from, but I did not, and I did learn later, about 3 years later, where the mom leaving him, I abandoned him when he was in the hospital to go get an IV in. They said I wasn't allowed in, and I was okay with that, but he wasn't. And he felt like I had abandoned him. And he had articulated that to me before I'd seen Jennifer, and I didn't know how to address that. And so after the Splunkna session, the first time I left the house, he looked at me and said, I'm fine, Mom. I mean, just literally, I'm fine, Mom. And I was almost hurt. It's like, where are my kisses? And that night, he did not have to have the hall light on, the closet light on. It was just the little night light, and he even had his bedroom door shut.
Wow.
And I don't want to go into the last session, but anyway, it is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
It really is.
It really
And you're
is.
talking to, and not only that, so I take him, and he was highly resistant. And we really had to pray the resistance away.
Right.
I mean, we were invoking, if you want to think that this is some New Age thing, it was, we were invoking the Holy Spirit, Jesus, I mean, just to get rid of that resistance. And so that was in June of 2016 that I took him, and then December. So it was mid-November. He looks at me and he says, "Mom, I want to go to that therapy again." Okay. So I have an 8-year-old son saying, "I want to go to that therapy again," and I didn't have any idea what was going on, but there were, you know, things revealed in that session that he needed cleared, and you know, pray, thank you, God.
Yes.
I mean, so, and if, you know, Kelly will vouch to this, I will stay away from anything New Agey. You know, it's don't want anything to do with that stuff. But this is not rooted in any of that.
Exactly.
This is rooted in God's gift to us,
Yes.
His creation.
Sparkna is definitely a Christ-centered, rooted, practice.
Right.
Yes. One of the things that really drew me to Sparkna is the fact that as I was getting to know Jennifer, and Jennifer and I had become friends many years ago, and so she had introduced, she talked to me about everything, but then I had my diagnosis with Hashimoto's, first with hypothyroidism, and the question of whether or not it was Hashimoto's was kind of the up in the sky question, because it was showing that there was borderline, blah, blah, but there was this hope that it wasn't, and deep in my heart, I knew that, it was Hashimoto's, even though the levels weren't saying that it was high enough. Just something because there's different ways to test for Hashimoto's. So as I was wanting to finally delve into one of the Sparkna sessions with Jennifer, and her and I talking and sharing about what is the root of thyroid and its voice, and I was open to just do a session, just to be able to try it, to experience anything, and the things that were uncovered that I would, just like Jennifer had said, that I thought I had dealt with. I mean, the thing that came up was probably the most minute of all of my, my healing journey and my dealing with any abuses. It was the most minute of my abuses, and that was the one that came up in the first session. But what it was is just like an onion. It was unlayering. That was, yes, probably the most minute to my body and to my emotions, but it was needing to be unlayered and to be dealt with so that we could get to even the deeper, the root of my fears, the root of my stuff. So a lot of people may say, well, I can see why a child might need to do Sparkna, or I can see why an adult, but why the other? And if you think about it, we make these agreements sometimes as young children and not even realize it.
It's agreements with evil.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Agreements with evil, exactly. And so, understanding that we need to be able to allow that to be able to be released so that we can, again, get back to that body-spirit connection, because our spirit is all about our connection with God and making sure that we can have that communication, with Him. So, so that's what I wanted to be able to share. So that is what this share group is going to be about this year. Each month, the second Saturday, we'll have a different theme. This theme was about detoxing, being able to see how oils can support us, essential oils can support us detoxing, but also about sharing and to be able to see how that helps and goes into our self-care for the month. Next month for February, our second Saturday is going to be February 11th. That one will also be at 10 a.m. There will be 3 throughout the year that won't be at 10. It will be at 2 o'clock due to another thing that I do on the second Saturday that I've committed to that is in the morning time, that I'm hoping that as the year progresses, that the month before I'll share with you as a group
what will be coming up that following month, and why, and how, if you want to be able to get involved, to be able to share, because it's about women, again, empowering and all that stuff. So those particular Saturdays, it will be at 2 o'clock to keep with the whole theme of me with words and, you know, stuff like that, because it's just fun, right? Second Saturday, sharing, and, you know, 2 and 10, they both have the same sound. And but so next month, though, again, is February 11th, and it's going to be a love theme. It's going to be about Valentine's. I'm going to have some fun snacks that are Valentine-y kind of snacks, homemade stuff that is good and nourishing for our body, as well as how to incorporate essential oils in our treats and stuff. And then we're also going to create a body spray that is a self-love, self-care body spray, and that will be the drawing items after we create it, along with some other fun self-care stuff. So the challenge I give to everyone is to make sure and your name got put in the drawing, right? Mm-hmm. So for every friend you bring, your name gets to put extra into the drawing for next month. So with that, would you like to do, or would you like to grab the jar for the drawing?
Oh, I didn't put my name in. Oh, but put your name in it.
I'm putting your name in it.
Just you can have it. I'm all good.
I'm good too. I need to use the restroom.
Oh, you're adorable. Okay, so I'll go right back to you. So real quick, I'm going to share with what all I have in this little heart. So in this heart, what I did was, you've got, first of all, a little notebook to be able to self-journal, self-care, self-love, right? And this little heart has some of the On Guard cough drops, which are really, really great for supporting your immune system. I also, ironically, I use these to help open up my vocal cords, my throat, for whenever I have to do speaking. It's interesting because I finally realized why the Breathe doesn't help me with my throat, because it's constricting because of the peppermints. You know, I mean, it helps open up your airwaves and all that stuff, but peppermint helps close blood vessels, or you know, the different mints or thing, they're cooling to the blood vessels, and so it's constricting me too much, and so that's why I tend to, but everybody again is different, and so for me, the On Guard, I suck on On Guard to help open up my passages instead. So this little has a few of the On Guard, and then these PB Assists, they're the junior ones. The only difference between the junior and the adult is 1,000, let's see, because these are 5,000, right? Oh, let me look at the big box. It makes more sense. I know it's, 5 billion. Okay, so 5 billion live cells of a unique blend of 6 different probiotic strains. So, and then the adult version, it's the pretty little green capsules. Mm-hmm. Those are 6 billion, right? But these are really great little, you know, pixie stick flavors. Oh my goodness. So if I'm wanting a treat in the middle of the day, I am not joking. I pop one.
They do taste good.
And then I made a little mini bottle of the Hope oil. Our clinging cross, we want to always remember our Christ in our life, right? To be able to connect our spirit to God. And then I did up little sample packs of the On Guard Protective Soft Gel, which is more potent than the oil itself. This is for when your immune system has definitely gotten a hit and you're needing to be able to have some extra protection to help kind of kick something. It's more potent in the sense of that you don't want to take it for more than 10 days because it's so cleansing that it will start to strip the gut bacteria. The butt bacteria. The gut bacteria. All right. The metabolic blend is also here. I gave a couple samples of it. It's just really great in between meals to do one soft gel, about 3 times, 4 times a day, just to be able to say if you're having, for some reason, you're realizing your insulin is spiking and you're just not feeling kind of, feeling kind of wonky. It'll help maintain, it'll help cut any cravings and all that stuff. And that one sheet will talk a little bit more about the Slim and Sassy also. I love it. I use it for controlling my insulin levels immensely because,
Really?
yeah. And then the Terrazymes, again, a couple of samples of the Terrazymes. Taking one before a meal, during a meal, it really helps, even when you're doing 100% organic, when you're doing really clean food and all that stuff. Sometimes our digestive system just needs some help, with getting things moving. And with me, especially with the thyroid, my gut is slower. It just is. So even with how clean I eat, I make sure and take a Terrazyme before each meal, especially if I'm having protein, to help break down that protein. So that is what is all in this little, let's see if I'm gonna really get it small here. Because I don't want to know. I want it to be real obvious. All right, Jennifer, do you want to draw?
Got a 50-50 chance. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
I win that, didn't
Camille.
Yeah.
So there you go. Thank you. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So the challenge I give you ladies is to definitely bring, some friends next month. And I'll be posting, and I'll obviously send out invites and everything. All of you on Facebook, thank you so very much for joining Kelly Frick, Kelly Wrights, or joining, yes, Kelly Frick at Frick Wrights, A Mind, Body, Soul Journey. Here trying to be able to help share and learn about how we connect our body and our spirit to be able to be connected to His divine will, and doing that through self-care, essential oils, and through healing. So you guys have a beautiful and blessed day, and I'll see y'all later. Thank you.
Finish.